You were the big kid, always. In photos, you're in the back row. In class, your knees don't fit under the desk. In PE, they give you the ball before you even ask. You didn't choose to play in the paint. The paint chose you. From the first time you touched a basketball, coaches put you under the basket. They told you to rebound, to box out, to be tough down low. You didn't know what that meant yet, but you learned fast. Tough meant bruises. Tough meant elbows. Tough meant getting shoved around and never backing down. You didn't shoot threes. You didn't dribble much. While the guards were working on crossovers, you were learning how to take a charge. You didn't get cheers for that. You just hit the floor and got back up. You became the screen setter, the cleanup guy, the enforcer. Your job was to make everyone else look good, to do the work that doesn't show up in highlights, to play like a wall with knees. You got stronger. You lived in the weight room. Squats, deadlifts, sleds. Every step of your game was built from the ground up. Legs first, heart second, touches third. You learned timing, how to grab a rebound in traffic, how to hedge a screen without fouling, how to fight for position while taking a forearm to the ribs. No one teaches you that. You learn it from pain, from trial, from running into someone harder than you and figuring out how to win anyway. People looked at you and said power forward like it was a compliment, like it was all about strength. But what they didn't say is that being a power forward means doing everything the game demands and getting the least credit for it. You run the floor like a big man, but you guard wings. You bang down low, but you're expected to switch on guards. You dive for loose balls. You box out giants. You fight through screens so someone else can get a steal. And when it comes to scoring, you're usually plan B. Or plan C, you get your buckets off rebounds and dump-offs. Nobody calls plays for you. Nobody draws up a highlight reel just for your hustle. But you keep doing it. Because even early on, you knew someone has to play the tough role. You take pride in it. You watch the film. You do the dirty work. You learn how to play smart even when you're exhausted. Because playing power forward isn't about being flashy. It's about surviving. And even now you feel it. The pressure to hold the line, to be physical without fouling, to jump again when your legs say no, to do your job without needing the spotlight. That's how it starts. You didn't ask to be a power forward. But this game doesn't ask. It just sees your body and gives you a job. And from the moment you step on that court, it's all yours to carry. High school turns you into a hammer. You've got the frame now. Broad shoulders, long arms, tree trunk legs. Coaches love you. Teachers see your name in the paper. You're the guy who snags 15 rebounds and puts up double-doubles without breaking a sweat. But you do sweat, because every night, you're in the trenches. They send the other team's strongest player at you, and it's your job to outwork him. Not outscore. Outwork. You spend the game fighting for space. You box out, bump shoulders, bang knees. It's a war zone down there, and your body is the battlefield. Nobody cheers for a box out. Nobody claps when you eat a moving screen so your teammate can stay with his man. They just expect you to get up, keep going, and do it again. You win games. You're dominant, but you start to feel it. Your ankles don't move like they used to. Your knees ache in the morning. You land funny after a rebound and feel something pull. Nothing major, but it sticks with you. You ice. You stretch. You get taped before every game. You start learning how to hide pain. Because if you're hurt, you sit. And if you sit, someone else steps in. And if that guy shines, maybe your spot's not guaranteed anymore. So you play through it, you start adjusting, less jumping, more boxing out. You use your weight to push, your hips to seal. You get smarter, but the grind doesn't stop. You're still banging bodies every game, every quarter, every possession. Meanwhile, the guards get the headlines. The crowd roars when they hit a step-back three. You dive into the scorer's table for a loose ball and nobody even notices. It's fine. You tell yourself it's fine. You're not here for flash. You're here to win. You start to take pride in being the glue, the backbone, the one who keeps it all together, but it comes at a price. Your fingers jam on a rebound, they swell, but you don't stop playing. Your back tightens after every game. You get kneed in the thigh, and it feels like walking through cement for a week. It never fully heals. It just gets buried under the next bump, the next tweak, the next bruise. You keep grinding, because you're a power forward. And your job, now and always, is to carry more than anyone else and smile like it's easy. College ball hits harder. The guys are faster, heavier, and meaner. You walk into the gym and suddenly you're not the strongest anymore. Everybody squats 4 plates, everybody dunks in warm-ups, everybody wants your spot. So you double down. You live in the weight room. Early mornings, protein shakes, band work, ice baths. Your routine is strict and your body becomes the job. If something hurts, you fix it. If something lags, you train it. Your whole life gets built around being ready to bang. You don't complain. You're not here to whine. You're here to survive. Coaches love you, not for scoring, for the stuff nobody else wants to do. You set the best screens, you talk on defense, you box out like a maniac. When someone needs to dive into a pile of knees and elbows for a loose ball, it's always you. But the game changes. The big men now shoot, they stretch the floor. The highlight reels are filled with step-back jumpers and poster dunks. And you're still doing the same thing. Rebounding, defending, fighting for space in silence. You're invisible until something goes wrong. Miss a switch? Your fault. Give up a board? Your fault. Take a charge? No one notices. Catch an elbow to the face? Get up, wipe it, keep playing. You start taping your knees before practice. You've got ankle braces so tight it feels like armor. Your hips don't move the same, your groin aches after every game. But the rotation's tight, so you play through it. They don't teach you how to rest. They just expect you to be ready. Your body starts to warn you. Your shoulder clicks when you lift. Your foot flares up during sprints. You don't say anything. You just adjust. You favor one side. You lift a little less. You pop a couple pills and hope for the best. Because the fear is real. Get hurt, and you might get forgotten. The coach trusts you, not because you're a star, but because you're steady, reliable. The kind of player who does everything right and never makes a scene. You tell yourself that's enough. You don't get the headlines. You don't go viral. But when your team wins, it's because of guys like you. And when you lose, you take the blame with everyone else, but no one sees the toll. The bruises, the swelling, the grinding noise in your knees every time you sit down. You don't just play through pain, you live with it. And the scariest part? You start to wonder if this is all you'll ever be. The guy who does the work, takes the hits, and never gets his name called. You make it to the league, you shake hands, you take the photo, but nobody tells you what being a power forward in the pros actually feels like. The game gets faster, the bodies get bigger, the spacing disappears in the paint. And your job? Stay physical, stay sharp, stay healthy. That last one's the hardest. Every night, you're guarding someone who can jump out of the gym and shoot from 30 feet. You've got to bang in the post, then sprint out to the corner and contest a three, then run back, post up, maybe get the ball, maybe not. You're still the screen setter, the rebounder, the defensive anchor. You're the guy who sacrifices his body so someone else can get the stat line. And that body, it's falling apart. You ice everything, knees, ankles, hips, back. You tape before games, you soak in ice baths after. You spend more time in recovery than on the court, because if you stop, even once, the machine notices. The team starts talking minutes. The coaches pull you early. They sign another guy, cheaper, healthier, hungrier. You feel it happening, but you don't say a word. Because you've seen it too many times. A rolled ankle becomes a DNP. A sore back becomes a 6-week absence. A single missed rotation, and suddenly the rookie's getting your minutes. So you push through, you play with a strained groin, you hide a fractured finger, you run on a knee that clicks with every step. Because in this league, pain is weakness only if you show it. Then comes the real fear, the big injury. It doesn't always happen in a big moment. Sometimes it's a freak landing, a foot on someone else's shoe, a twist that shouldn't have mattered. And suddenly, pop. You know right away. Something's wrong. Maybe it's a torn meniscus. Maybe a shoulder that doesn't lift. Maybe your back locks up and never unlocks. Doesn't matter. You go to rehab. You say the right things, you grind. But the league moves on without you. Your numbers don't lie, but neither does your medical chart. Teams start to hesitate. 1-year deals, vet minimums. Prove it, contracts. You used to be a starter. Now you're a presence in the locker room. And the worst part? You're still doing everything right. Still diving, still boxing out, still showing up. But your body's not listening anymore. The game never stops. And you? You're just hoping your joints hold out long enough for one more run. You were never the star. Not the leading scorer, not the flashy ball handler, not the highlight machine. But when the game turned ugly, when elbows flew, when rebounds mattered, when bodies hit the floor, that's when they needed you. You set the tone without saying a word. You didn't talk trash. You talked with your actions. Hard screens, clean blocks, quiet dominance. You kept teams together. But the bruises don't show up in the box score. The hip checks, the jammed fingers, the sore backs and taped ankles. You played through them all, and the only stat that remembered was pain. And pain remembers everything. You feel it in the mornings. In the joints that creak when you stand. In the foot that won't flex the same. In the scar on your shoulder from that surgery nobody wrote a story about. You remember teammates walking past without realizing what you gave up to keep playing. You remember coaches praising hustle, then cutting you anyway. You remember fans chanting someone else's name after you boxed out 3 defenders to tip the rebound their way. But you also remember the moments. The sound of the ball bouncing just right off the glass. The perfect screen that frees up the game winner. The possession where you fought through 3 bodies and kept the ball alive. That was your game. Not flashy, not loud, just essential. You weren't built for glory. You were built to last, even if the game tried to break you. And now you walk slower. You stretch longer. You ice more than you move. But you don't regret it. Because when the game needed someone to do the dirty work, someone to keep fighting, to keep jumping, to keep showing up, it always called you. And you always answered. You were the body in the lane, the voice behind the switch, the guy who never gave up on a box out, never flinched at a screen, never hesitated to take a charge when the whole arena held its breath. You didn't make the crowd cheer. You made the opponent's job harder, every night. And you didn't just do it once. You did it again, and again, and again. On sore knees, on a pulled hamstring, on a turned ankle you taped so tight your toes went numb. Because no one teaches you how to rest. They just teach you how to endure. You missed birthdays, you missed sleep, you missed being pain-free, but you didn't miss the moment. Because you knew the game had no room for second chances. Not for players like you. You didn't have a brand. You didn't sell sneakers. You sold grit. And even when the cameras looked away, you were still there. Boxing out, showing up, doing the job no one else wanted. It was lonely sometimes. You'd sit on the bench post-game, soaking in ice, wondering if anyone even noticed how much it hurt just to stand. You'd hear people say your numbers were down, like your bruises had stopped mattering, but numbers never told your story. What told it was the player you guarded who stopped driving in the second half. The shooter who stopped curling off screens because you never let him breathe. The team that won because you tipped out a board in traffic no one else even jumped for. That was the legacy. It wasn't the stat sheet. It was the teammates who played better because you never stopped covering for them. It was the coaches who trusted you with the hard minutes. It was the unspoken respect, the nod from another bruised-up vet who knew exactly what it cost to play your position. You didn't chase fame. You chased impact. And now, when your knees ache and your back tightens after every flight, when you tape your fingers just to shoot around at practice, you still feel proud. Not because of what you gained, but because of what you gave. You gave everything. That's why it sucks to be a power forward. And that's exactly why you never stop showing up.